From the alley-oops at Kezar to the glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way. From off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. Welcome to the show, everyone. Breaking news, Nick Bosa and the San Francisco 49ers have agreed on a record-breaking deal. According to Adam Schefter, Nick Bosa agrees to a 5-year deal worth $170 million, including $122.5 million guaranteed, making him the highest paid defensive player in NFL history. Blockbuster for the 49ers, and the 49ers get it done at the 11th hour. This is when you get an agreement from both. They get pushed up against the limit, and now you get a contract done. Nick Bosa coming back to San Francisco. The deal is done. We can finally get past it and move on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And now the questions are, how much will Nick Bosa play in this game? And what's up to everyone in chat? How's it going? And Shooter says, Nick Bosa got paid like a quarterback. And he did. He got big-time money. It's going to come out to around $34 million. Of course, as the terms of this contract come out, and we get to see how much, is kind of allocated to each season, we'll have a better idea of what the effect of Nick Bosa's contract is going to be on the rest of the football team. But when it comes down to it, you just had to get this deal done. Now the 49ers defense will be completely intact heading into the football season. So 49ers got their player. They got their main guy as they're pushing for a Super Bowl. And it was inevitable that this deal was going to get done. But how close was it going to be to the regular season? Well, they definitely pushed it. Today would have been the day you really wanted Nick Bosa at practice, because this is when you start game planning for your team. And this is exactly, the kind of thing you had to get done. You have to get Bosa out there. He changes the entire defense. So now you've got the edge rusher, the big-time player, and now you've got those stud players on all three levels of defense. Fantastic move overall. And we're getting mixed results. And what's up, everyone? And Jess says, hey, TCC, smash that like button. Yeah, please smash the like button while you're here. Leave a comment. If you are a channel member, you can use your rewards and get free super chats or whatever. And let's have a conversation. And Foy, not a fan of this, says another overpaid player. Sometimes you have to pay more than you would want, and the 49ers pay market value. There's one thing you can say about the 49ers organization is they always reward their players for good play. They've done it at several positions, whether it was Jimmy Garoppolo after he had those big 5 games in 2017, or it was George Kittle or Fred Warner or Deebo Samuel. They take care of their own. If you produce on the field for them, they will make sure you get the money. So the good news is this organization has proven that they will reward players, and I think you get that loyalty from the players as well because they know these kind of deals will get done. So yes, Bosa is changing the landscape of how much it costs to pay an edge rusher in the NFL, and now this is going to send ramifications through the rest of the NFL because now they're going to have to worry about paying their guys as well, including TJ Watt with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He just got his deal a couple years ago, $28 million per season, and now Nick Bosa goes way over the top. So we got a super chat here from Bobo, and thanks so much, Bobo, who says, would the deal be cheaper if extension in 22 or same? I think it would have been the same for the reason that Aaron Donald got his extension at the end of the 2021 season, and also TJ Watt had already signed his big blockbuster deal. And the way that Nick Bosa's agent goes about it, he wants 8% above value of player that he deems in the same category. So Joey Bosa, he got 8% over what the original edge rusher market looked like, and that's what he was trying to do here. He was trying to get more than what Aaron Donald did, and he got significantly more when you kind of go through the numbers. And I am curious how it ends up playing out and leveling out between money for each season. and how that will impact if this is front-loaded, back-loaded, how much money counts for 2023, and how much they can roll over into 2024, because the 49ers expenditures do not go away anytime soon. They have lots of people they have to pay, and when you draft well and you bring players in, you pay them a lot of money eventually, and then the question is, can you fill in the holes through the draft and through cheaper players? And the 49ers are going to have to prove that, and one of the ways they did was having a young, cheaper quarterback in Brock Purdy. Reddy says, Super Bowl bound. I like that. Yeah, I hope this is going to be a big one. And Bobo says, the Chiefs are pissed now at the 49ers because of the Chris Jones situation. You're right. Because now that this came down, Chris Jones is going to mark this as the type of contract he wants. He's going to want to be paid more than Aaron Donald, and he's probably going to want to be paid up there with the likes of Nick Bosa, and this kind of lays it out there. It could mean that they can't afford to pay Chris Jones, and if that's the case, could they move him? Yes. Could they just wait until week 8 when he said he would come back in? Yes, that's a different situation for sure. And Riddy says, I just got my new stitched Nick Bosa jersey in the mail yesterday. Got one the very beginning of his rookie year as well. True story. I like that. Sport that jersey proudly. It's absolutely fantastic. And Foy says $2 million a game. Yeah, I mean, he was making $922,000 already. He was on tap to make $17.9 million per game this season in 2023. So he gets a significant raise from season to season. Will his $17 million drop this season? Of course, they add the extension on. They don't normally tear up this contract. They usually add it on. So 6 seasons more of Nick Bosa is what it could be and should be. So, yeah, let's see what it looks like. But, yeah, $2 million per game is what he's going to get. And if he can rack up the type of production he's had over the last couple of years, he's worth every penny, because when you think about these players, as the salary cap keeps going up, the people that are getting paid the most amount of money are quarterbacks, and then the guys who protect the quarterbacks and offensive tackles, and the guys who sack the quarterbacks and defensive ends. So market value-wise, this is the way it's trending, and I wonder which big edge rusher is next. Brian Burns showed up to practice today for Carolina. He's on his 5th-year option. I guarantee his agent took a look at this contract and said, hey, you probably owe us a significant raise. So something interesting to monitor around the league, because we're going to continue to see these big-time contracts for big-time players. But Nick Bosa definitely was going to optimize his contract negotiation, optimize his value, because he knows what it means to get that wealth. And his brother did the same thing. Bosa did this with his rookie contract. This is kind of how he operates. But the 49ers get it done. Bosa gets it done. It's 11th hour. But we'll see how this translates to the field. And if it results in the end game of a Super Bowl, then it's money well spent for the San Francisco 49ers. What does it mean for longevity of building this franchise and sustainability? That's another question for another day. But we can all be excited about Bosa being out there, about getting to see him rush the passer and make plays for this football team, because he really does make everyone else on the team better by how he plays. So very good move, and very excited to see it. And I like this right here. Rudy says, let's come together and root this team on. Hate the divide. We got it so good as 49er fans. Let's go. Yeah, I'm with you. Let's all come together. It's time to focus. The 49ers' attention, of course, is on Pittsburgh. And now with this behind them, players don't have to ask questions about it or be asked questions about it. They don't have to answer about Bosa. Now it's just business. Let's get to business. Get to Pittsburgh. It's not an easy matchup. And try to sneak out of there with a win. And then you've got divisional rival Los Angeles waiting in the wings. So it was a big move. You needed to get Bosa in. Will Bosa be able to play? I think that's the next question for the San Francisco 49ers. And then if he does play, what kind of pitch count is he going to be on? Of course, Mike Tomlin talked about Bosa yesterday in his press conference, where he mentioned that TJ Watt had signed his extension at the 11th hour, and then he came in and he had a big game. He ended up having 2 sacks in that football game. Hopefully, that is something the 49ers can definitely get done. And I love this. This was so predictable. It's predictable in the fact that it got done, because there needed to be a deadline. Bosa was going to start losing money, game check money. the 49ers could keep him from losing any practice money. They were allowed to waive those. They were not allowed to waive game checks. So if you're holding out for $3-4 million per year, at some point in your holdout, you're going to lose $3 or $4 million. At one point, is it counterproductive to sit out? And I think that's where you kind of got the push comes to shove. It looks like both teams met in the middle and came to an agreement that they felt comfortable with. And now the 49ers get their all-pro defensive player of the year, defensive end, Nick Bosa, back in San Francisco and headed to Pittsburgh on a 5-year extension worth $170 million, $122.5 million guaranteed. And it's a big move. And of course, with all things 49ers, there's going to be a lot of conversation about what that means for players that the 49ers are going to ultimately have to sign. But let's not worry about that today. Today, let's just enjoy the fact that Nick Bosa is back in San Francisco, and now we're going to get to see the full array of talent and players playing for Steve Wilks and attacking Kenny Pickett. I know Pittsburgh fans are getting mad. I accidentally call him Cody Pickett sometimes, but Kenny Pickett and the weapons that he has, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, that's for sure. I'm excited about that because this is a good one. And Donald in the house, what's up, Donald? Donald's my guy. He says, I'm glad Bosa finally signed. Yeah, exactly. This was something that I guess it wasn't really a conversation point for most of the offseason. Everyone just figured the deal was going to get done. And then over the last couple weeks, it was kind of like, this is getting a little bit more interesting than any of us thought. And now there were reports today that Bosa could have sat out, into the season, and then the deal gets done. So I'm very excited that this deal is done, that Nick Bosa is coming back to San Francisco, and that the 49ers are going to now be Nick Bosa, Cleveland Farrell starting, but we're going to get to see Bosa, Armstead, Hargrave, and Cleveland Farrell together. The foursome that we were looking for to be able to rush the passer and what that's going to mean for this defense. I guarantee you Fred Warner and Talanoa Hufanga and those guys are very excited. And I'm sure Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers are happy that they're preparing for Bosa, knowing that something like this was going to happen. So great news for the San Francisco 49ers and Nick Bosa. Huge deal, $34 million per season. Huge contract. If you're just jumping in, we had a lot of people just jump in. $170 million over 5 seasons with $22 million guaranteed. So a huge contract for everyone that just jumped in. So it's good news for the 49ers. They had to get something done. They had to make a move with Nick Bosa and get him into the flow of things, back into the defense. And we'll see if he can hit the ground running and make some impact for everyone else on the team. And that's what the 49ers are looking to do. This is Super Bowl year for them. They're looking to win a Super Bowl. That's the expectations, and that's what they showed with this signing, that's their expectations, that they're going to go out and they're going to win a big-time Super Bowl. And if Nick Bosa helps put him over the top, then this contract is well worth it. And you know why you can afford to pay Nick Bosa quarterback-like money? Because you're not paying your quarterback-like money, with Brock Purdy making around $920,000 this season. It's the way it goes, and that's how Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have decided to build this roster, and right now it's working out. Let's see longevity-wise if this is something they can sustain, but if they can, it's great. So the news is Nick Bosa back in San Francisco. I'm going to be going live on the PSF app today with Mark Adams, so if you don't have the PSF app, which is Pro Sports Fans, go download that, and we'll be going live on that. That's for the Red and Bold show. So if you guys want to have more interaction, talk more Nick Bosa, just jump in the 49ers chat room on the PSF app. We're going to go live. I'm sure this is going to be a huge topic of conversation now as this changes the way the 49ers prepare for Pittsburgh, knowing that they're going to have a huge piece out on the outside. And we got this from Finkel. Says, that's a very good point. Well, that's the thing. The 49ers knew what it meant to get the young quarterback. That's why they gave up so much for Trey Lance, thinking that was the way they were going to have to build. Now they got an even cheaper quarterback option in Brock Purdy. but they feel like he can still operate this offense at a high level. So let's remember that. Foy says, John and Kyle, you got to give Brock Purdy a little more money. Well, the thing is, they will, but they can't right now because Brock Purdy is not even allowed to renegotiate his contract until after his third season in the NFL. So this is only year 2. He'll play next year on a rookie deal, and then they can renegotiate, which I'm sure they will have to because you'll have contract conversations about him coming up in 2025. So we've got a little bit of time for Purdy. You have 4 years of control. 3 years of those, you cannot negotiate a new contract extension, but they'll eventually get this done with him down the road as long as he plays up to par in what we believe that he can get done. And that's it. You got players coming up this season. After this season, Aaron Banks, Brandon Ayuk, Talanoa Hufanga, they got to get paid. And we'll see how the 49ers find money. In Parag, we trust, right? The structure of this contract is going to be really fun to watch. I'm excited about that, just to see how his money is going to play out and how it's going to impact right now, how much money they have for this season in case they want to make a move, but then what the cap hits are for 2024, 25, 26, 27, and beyond. How many extra void years were there to spread out some of the money? It's going to be fun to see how it all comes out. But the good news is he's back and better than ever. And Luke Luna with the one word, big money, damn. I just picture Ron Simmons, damn, $170 million over 5 years with $122.5 million guaranteed. Richest contract for a defensive player in NFL history. And Nick Bosa, he proved last year how much he deserves. It deserves a lot of money. Of course, 34 was the top end that I've talked about. I wouldn't go beyond $34 million a year, and the 49ers weren't willing to go beyond $34 million either. And so the deal gets done. A lot of guaranteed money, a lot of money headed to one player, of course. But you got to feel the structure of the franchise. They believe they can withstand this contract. But the ultimate goal is to win a Super Bowl in the next year or so. And I'm sure they think they got a Super Bowl caliber team now. So you have to have Nick Bosa out there for 17 football games and the playoffs to be able to secure the number 1 seed and make sure that the playoffs run through San Francisco. Easiest way to do that is make sure your defense is back to being number 1 in the league. You can't be number 1 in the league if you don't have your number 1 defensive player. So it's going to be absolutely great. And I love this from BV50. Welcome to the chat, by the way. It says, now we can concentrate on the games. Let's go 49ers. And there's been a lot of concentration on the games from the channel. Go check out some of the content. And the Pittsburgh Steelers fans have been out in force commenting and talking and watching a lot of the content that I've been providing. Pretty entertaining stuff. They know their football team. They know their stuff. It's a fun conversation, and they got a good team. I'm excited. I'm going to be doing Red and Bold with Mark Adams over on the PSF app in a little bit. We're going to be talking about Pittsburgh Steelers and Nick Bosa. But also later on today, I'm going to put out a video about matchups the 49ers need to win on defense. It's going to be a fun one, and that'll be coming out later. But I had to go live, talk Nick Bosa, because it was very important to just talk about this contract. And what's up, Josh? How's it going? So they finally get the guy in. They get Bosa in, and it's good news for the 49ers because you can't have these things linger into the season. It causes distractions. But now I feel like this is actually one of those things that kind of can catapult you, right? It gives you that extra energy. There's going to be an excitement in the locker room, excitement with the fan base. You got your guy in. It's done. Now you're going to go out there and play. I thought this, from the beginning, as it got closer and closer to the season, I thought, wow, if it gets done, it can be huge for the 49ers as they push forward, and be able to get that extra boost of energy headed into this Pittsburgh game, which is going to be a tough one, winning on the road at Heinz Field. That place is no joke. Those fans are excellent. They're loud. They know their football team inside and out. I'm excited about it. Do I always agree with everything they say? No. But I love the energy. I love the fact that they know their team like we do, depth-wise, inside and out. It's fantastic. And now they're going to get to know Nick Bosa very well because Bosa is going to be bringing pressure and making it a lot more difficult for Kenny Pickett on the outside. Plus, the way he sets the edge in the run game, he is one of the best in the league all-around defensive end. That's why you get paid $34 million a year. That's why you get paid the richest defensive contract in the history of the NFL. And Soothing Sound says, it's Super Bowl or bust right now, ? Can we even afford anyone next year? Hopefully it motivates our players and coaching staff again. Well, Soothing Sounds, yes, they can continue to afford players next year. There is a lot of ways, and Jason Hurley, he breaks down the cap very well. You can go check him out on Twitter, put out some really good information about how the 49ers can maintain and keep their core base of talent, including, keeping guys like Juszczyk and Kittle and Armstead and Warner and Debo and Brandon Ayuk by simply doing what they do and kind of kicking the can down the road with guys like Armstead with restructuring, so they can move money around. They can make this thing work. And that's why the overall structure of Nick Bosa's contract is going to be very interesting to see how they kind of stagger people's seasons with high ends this way and high ends that way to kind of make sure that they can maneuver with both. That's the same with Debo and Brandon Ayuk, is you can have kind of Debo having next year, he's getting like close to $25 million. Brandon Ayuk is scheduled to make just over 14. If you tie him to an extension, you can lower that cap number and actually create more cap space, and you can kind of work this contract thing. So the geniuses that are handling the contract situations, they're the ones that are going to have to make this work. But yes, you can figure out a way to keep all of your guys. It just becomes more difficult. And what's up, SG? Welcome to the show. I really appreciate you coming through. Thanks for flying through. And Anonymous says, now I can finally give my week 1 prediction. Bosa gets a safety. I like that. Anonymous coming with something outside the box for a prediction and says, hey, Nick Bosa is going to get a safety. I like that. Let's make that happen. I would love a sack around the goal line. The only thing that would make it better, Anonymous, is if it ends up being a strip sack and the 49ers recover, right? So excited. SG says, how many points do you think the 49ers will score against the Steelers? I don't know. I've still been watching Pittsburgh Steeler film. I watched a couple of games from 2022 at the end of the season, but they've had so many new additions on defense. I've watched some of their preseason games. I think they're very talented on defense. I think this is going to be a tough one. I'm not ready to predict that yet. I'm going to make a prediction on my game preview show tomorrow, and that's when I'll decide how many points I think they're going to get. But I don't think the 49ers are going to blow it out of the water with a lot of points. I think this one's going to be a close one. It's going to be tight because both teams are good. And Soothing Sounds is going to be fire week 1. Thanks. It's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely great. And we got a prediction here from Foy. 49ers 34, Steelers 17. That would be a nice, hefty win there. I'll take it. I would love it. We'll see if that comes to pass for sure. Anonymous says, can never discount a Tomlin defense. Absolutely. Mike Tomlin is an excellent coach. We know that team is going to be well buttoned up. They're going to be very fundamental in their techniques. They are always in the right spots. You are going to have to beat them, not just strategically, but also physically. You're going to have to outsmart them, outman them, and that's very difficult to do. There's a reason Mike Tomlin has winning seasons every season that he coaches, because he's very good at not just X's and O's, but fundamentals, but also a great leader of men, and he's very intellectual. So 49ers are going to have their work cut out for him, but that's why you pay Kyle Shanahan what you pay him. That's why you bring in Steve Wilkes, so that they can go ahead and battle with a very intelligent and good coaching staff in Pittsburgh, and we'll see whose sum of parts ends up being better and gets it done. And Josh says 20-17 type game. I think that's could be a reality. I think the question marks about how this scoring goes depends on how Pittsburgh defends players like Christian McCaffrey. And if they can slow up Christian McCaffrey and hold him down. A lot of Pittsburgh Steelers fans believe Quan Alexander can cover Christian McCaffrey one-on-one. I don't believe that. But if that was the case, that would give them an advantage. That would slow down the 49ers offense. I, however, believe it's going to be a lot more difficult. That's for sure. And so with that being said, the 49ers on a 2017 type game like Josh is talking about need to be very stout on defense, and Nick Bosa is going to do that, because now you're going to get one-on-one situations for either Eric Armstead or you're going to get one for Javon Hargrave, because if you're showing attention to Bosa with a double team, you're not doubling Armstead and doubling Hargrave, which means you're singling up a really good interior player and probably the opposite defensive end, opposite of Nick Bosa, which has been one of the main things we've talked about all offseason. That guy must produce. But now that Bosa's got the contract, we're going to get to see it be easier for everyone else. And Josh is saying that's hilarious about Quan Alexander. Go back to my last video about McCaffrey and just, the offensive they need to exploit, the offensive matchups they need to exploit. And just read the comments section. Pittsburgh Steelers fans, they know their team. They understand football very well. But, we have a really good idea of Quan Alexander. And I love Quan. Quan's one of my favorite players in the entire NFL. Ever since he came to the Niners in 2019, I like his energy. I like how hard he works. He's a good dude. And I think he's very good at getting downhill, flashing. He's good at blitzing. There's lots of things to like about Quan Alexander's game, but he's not covering Christian McCaffrey. He's just not. Fred Warner struggles to cover Christian McCaffrey. Quan's not doing it. But, hey, I love the energy that they're bringing. I really do. I think it's going to be a fun game. Anonymous says, we'll always have love for Quan Alexander for his time with us, but there's no way he can cover CMC. My thoughts exactly. And thanks so much, Morgan, for joining the Cutback Crew. New subscriber. Really appreciate you joining. And you have the opportunity right now, if you're watching and you haven't watched the channel before, go ahead and subscribe. Like the video. That helps a lot. It's really cool to see everyone coming through and, talking Nick Bosa, talking 49ers, because guess what? Real football's here, and it's good. And 49ers faithful Josh says CMC would run circles around Quan, and I love Quan. I think that's the 49er fans. We love Quan. The Hot Boys, the energy he brought in 2019 through the roof. Him, Greenlaw, Warner was something special. But Quan ain't covering McCaffrey. The best linebackers in the league can't cover McCaffrey one-on-one. There's slot receivers and safeties that can't cover Christian McCaffrey one-on-one. He's just a mismatch problem. My guess is they use a variety of different players, different schemes to be able to somewhat try to negate him, hold him down. That's the way you have to do it. It's not going to be a single one-on-one matchup. And if it ends up being a one-on-one matchup, advantage 49ers. And Michael says Niners 31-15. I like that. I would love a 2-score type victory for the 49ers, and 31 points would show that the 49ers offense is on point. That would show Colton McKivitz was able to hold up against TJ Watt. The 49ers got a run game going, and that Brock Purdy was him. He was able to get it done and expose the Steelers defense, which has some question marks in the secondary, but is a very, very good team. So, very good call right there. And Randy says, we landed on the moon. Hooray. Randy always comes through with the good stuff. Absolutely love it. And BV says, it's a good day in the hashtag TCC. It is. It's a very good day to be a 49er fan. It's a good day to be the Cutback Crew 49ers fans. And anytime you sign a big-time player that's your guy and he comes back, it's reason to be excited. It makes everything easier for all of us. So it's a good day to be a 49er fan. I thank you guys all for coming in. Nick Bosa, 5 years, $170 million contract extension, including $122.5 million guaranteed, according to Adam Schefter. I'll be on the PSF app in about a half hour. Come over there and join. I know Josh has already been on the PSF app, so come over there, download the app, go to the 49ers chat room. Me, Mark Adams from 49ers Camelot, going to be doing our Red and Bold show, so head over there if you guys want to interact with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll catch you guys all on the next one. Until then, stay safe, and remember the right way is always the 49ers way.